Okay, so disclaimer, nobody is paying me to make this video. Hey everybody, this is Roberto Blake of robertoblake.com helping you create something awesome today. So today we're going to talk about a topic that's slightly controversial. We're going to talk about Adobe Creative Cloud, why I use it, why I prefer to use it, why I love the subscription model, and why I don't think it's the problem that people make it out to be. Now, before we go any further, your individual choice with regard to how you're going to spend your money, how you're going to operate your business, or what you want to spend money on your career, totally your choice. I completely respect that. However, if you make excuses and you make defenses that I don't feel stand up or that I have a counterpunch to, I'm going to rip them apart and cast their ashes into the wind. So, comment section, do what you will with that disclaimer as well. Now, all kidding and snarkiness aside, my stance on the Creative Cloud subscription model is as follows. I think it's a tremendous value. I think the far majority of people were limited in terms of their ability to enter into the industry due to expensive and prohibitive hardware cost. Most graphic designers still believe that to this day, you have to have a Mac in order to be a graphic designer, be taken seriously, get hired in-house or an agency. And the reality is that a lot of people making those decisions actually do intend that. And you do have to have a Mac or Mac experience or own a Mac in order to get into some of those places still to this day, even though I would make the argument that it doesn't matter anymore. Part of the reason I can make that argument is because of Adobe Creative Cloud. With Adobe Creative Cloud, the ability to use the software that most people in the industry are using, especially if you're working at an ad agency, it doesn't matter because it is the same in the Mac and is the same in a PC, and you can make all the UI and UX arguments you want on the Mac and PC thing. We will go back and forth. I've done videos about it over and over and over again, but in terms of functionality, there's no real difference between what you get for the majority of the Adobe Creative Suite programs on Windows versus Mac. So the Creative Cloud making that seamless and giving you the ability to log in on both a Mac and PC, which I do because I own my iMac, I own my Dell XPS 13, I own my custom built PC called the Stormtrooper. And so I have the ability to just log into any of my devices and use the same tools and the same apps, and in many cases, my same presets. The ability to sync my presets, my workspaces, and my custom shortcuts, tremendous. That is fantastic, and that is a great option in Creative Cloud. Now, a lot of you don't actually have a problem with the software Creative Cloud itself. You don't have a problem with the things that they've upgraded, the things that they've changed. A lot of you actually would be in favor of those things if you were using them, or if you actually got the free trial. Many of you struggle with the constant idea of a subscription model versus ownership, even though we all know that technically you don't actually ever own software, you have a usage license. But you guys feel that this is ransomware, and I don't agree with that. I think it is a very ridiculous argument to make, and I apologize if that offends anyone. Go ahead and unsubscribe if that is your thing and you feel that that's a way to hit me back for that one, but I'm gonna call it like it is. I feel that it's a ridiculous idea for multiple reasons. You could make the argument that owning Creative Suite 6 outright at its full price means that you don't have to upgrade, you don't have to shell out any more money to Adobe, you aren't paying the Adobe tax, as you guys like to say sometimes, and that's fine for you, and you feel that it can do most of what you've been able to do, etc., etc., etc. Here is the problem with that. On multiple levels, CS6 is not nearly as fast at the majority of the same task, nor as accurate compared to Creative Cloud. That's a big deal. Speed is important, time is money. The justification, the price, in my mind, the argument and the counterpunch I have is this. Conservatively making the assumption that out of a 40-hour work week, you could save 10% of your time by using the newer Creative Cloud software, which again, I said it's a conservative estimate for several reasons. The newer software is optimized and more streamlined, and it can take more advantage of the hardware, meaning if you have the latest MacBook Pro, or you have a custom PC, or you have the latest iMac, or you have a Mac Pro, then the Creative Cloud can take more advantage of the hardware resources available in the newest computer systems, whereas putting old software on newer, faster computers isn't gonna really help you in terms of performance. And so that means you have a bottleneck now. Here's where the math gets interesting. So instead of paying, let's say with taxes, close to $60 per month, $720 per year for Creative Cloud, whatever your standard hourly rate is, consider the fact that you could be saving 4 hours a week. That's 16 hours. You're eliminating that savings of 16 hours per month of time, 16 hours per month of your time to save $60. Do some math and divide that. If you do some math and divide that, you are roughly saving just a little over what? So let's do some math. You're saving less than $5 per hour there. You're valuing your time. The savings of I don't want to pay $60 even if I could save 16 hours a month. That comes out to you cheaping on your time and valuing your time as a creative at less than $5 an hour. That's all you're saving, if the time is that. Let's be conservative though. Let's go even further. Let's say you're only saving 5 hours a month. If you're saving 5 hours a month, then that means that you're valuing your time efficiency in terms of savings here at about $12 an hour. So if you're a graphic designer, if you're a video editor, if you're a motion graphics person, if you're a digital illustrator, is your time worth $12 an hour, or is it worth more than that? Because that's what you're valuing your time at if you're just trying to save $60 a month versus saving even 5 hours. For many of you, if we still reduce this down to 2 hours, it's still not your hourly rate when you think about it. If many of you who are watching this, who are very good at what you do and you make real money at it, saving 2 hours and not paying $60, you're valuing your time, if you're more concerned about $60 versus 2 hours, at $30 an hour. Does that add up for you? So when I just consider the raw math there, that's why I say that argument doesn't make sense. I feel it's a better argument for me to go there and talk about the value of your time than convince you that it's cheaper than your cable, it's cheaper than drinking Starbucks every day, it's cheaper than those of you who are smoking, because for whatever reason, those aren't convincing enough arguments. So I will go to the value of your own time, and I will use that pain point. The other thing I would say about this whole thing is that from a standpoint of collaboration, raw features, the constant upgrades that it provides, and the ability to use the entire suite of Adobe tools at a relatively low upfront price when you consider the type of projects that you could produce and the money that you could make, it's a no-brainer for me in terms of a practical business investment. If you have a 10,000 subscriber email list, which I have close to that at this point, then the $60 a month doesn't mean as much to you from a business investment standpoint, because you pay astronomically more just to be able to email people, let alone produce projects for paying clients or develop things for your own brand that are gonna make you money. For those of you who are just photographers or you just use Photoshop alone, it's $10 per month to go to Creative Cloud and you get Photoshop and Lightroom. That is a fantastic deal. If you're a photographer and you can't justify the price of $10 a month, considering what we used to spend on film, remember these things? Remember the cost of doing business associated with these things? And those of you who are hobbyists like me who still use them on occasion, the cost of this to be able to use it per month, much more than $10 for renting software. Get over it, okay? Creative Cloud is great software. Are there alternatives out there? Yes. Are there cheaper software out there? Yes. The power is in the suite of software itself, the compatibility with its own suite of mobile apps, and the services that you get and the fact that Adobe is now integrating machine learning in the back end, which means that the artificial intelligence behind there will only get better and smarter based on collected user data, which means more accurate things, more time-saving features. It's only going to get better from here, and in a few years, you can expect that the Creative Suite option will just not exist altogether. This will be a non-issue for the majority of new creators entering the marketplace, and when you are not able to compete with that, you won't really have as much of a say in whether you're going to move to this or not, because one, the other options won't exist. It will not be practical because as operating systems upgrade in terms of Mac and Windows, the compatibility issues for legacy software will just get worse and worse as new hardware. We're about to enter an entirely new generation of processors that are going to be faster than ever. We have a new graphics processing architecture from NVIDIA. So there's just so much power that you'll be leaving on the table as you upgrade hardware by using old legacy software. And that is just a reality of where technology is going. And I know that the pay-to-play model upsets so many people. I know that there's anxiety about this lack of ownership of what if I lose my files? What if I lose my files? But the reality is, in any business, if you stop paying your web hosting, your website and your email is gonna go down and it's gonna go away. You stop paying your electricity, that's gonna go away. Services as a utility is not something new. And for those of you who run your own creative business, you already know that between web hosting and email marketing and so many other things, that these are a practical operating expense in the cost of doing business, and you could always charge enough to your clients to justify the expense. So all of the issues and all of the arguments for why Creative Cloud is horrible or why it's not the right decision or it's some evil empire thing that Adobe's doing, I don't really buy into those arguments, because as someone who's been using Adobe software for more than half of their life, as someone who's bought single license products from Adobe for years, as somebody who had a license from their job in corporate and also their own licensing, which again, I bought some of those. And then when Creative Cloud came, it was a no-brainer. All I did was I kept my individual single product licenses and all my old stuff as a backup, and I still have those registered in my same account, and I added a Creative Cloud membership with my email, meaning that instead of upgrading, I added a Creative Cloud membership. I still retain all of those serial numbers. I still have all of the archived in my cloud and on DVDs and on hard drives, all of the downloads of my old software, which means that those legacy things are there if I felt like for any reason I still wanted or needed them, and I just added Creative Cloud to it. So if you already own an Adobe product and you have a full license, my answer to you is retain your full licenses in the old software if you feel you need to have a backup and you need something to feel safe and comfortable and that you can access the archive of your body of work. That's perfectly fine and legitimate. I'd make the argument that for the most part, in terms of accessing your files, you could do that with open source and third-party software as well. And there are universal file types such as EPS. So those are things, and IDML and so on and so forth. So there are answers to this, but I would say add a Creative Cloud license to the mix, even just do the trial and see if you don't have a better, faster, more robust overall experience in your workflow, and see if you give it an honest shot without having to commit to the pricing and the monthly fees. Because I think if you took the monthly fees and the frustration or the anger you have toward that out of the equation, you would just use this thing and you would just love it just like I do. But again, Adobe's not paying me to do this video. They don't pay for my Creative Cloud software, at least not right now, as of the making of this video. But you know, if they offer, I'm not gonna turn it down. I think more than anything as a creative that you owe it to yourself to charge enough and to work hard enough to make the money that justifies you having the best tools at your disposal, or the tools that will work the best for you and for your clients. And you just have to figure that out and make it practical. I know that might seem difficult right now, depending on what your situation is, but one of the great things that I love about the things that I do on this channel is that I give you guys practical solutions and actionable advice and things that have worked to be able to help put you in that position. I've done a lot of videos on how to charge and how to get the most out of your design projects and how to find clients if you're struggling with that. And if you need more ideas and ways to make money as a creative, I've done videos on that as well, and I will continue to do those videos so that you can afford to stay in this industry and stay in business. I also cover budget solutions. So for those of you who absolutely can't afford Creative Cloud right now, don't worry. I do talk about free software on the channel. I've done whole videos listing the best free software available for creatives and designers, and I'll be doing more videos like that and covering more software, especially as I become more familiar with things in the market. You guys, if you're in the comments, you can leave some suggestions of free software that people can get as alternatives to Creative Cloud if they still can't afford it. Or if there are budget alternatives that you would like for me to cover on this channel, then let me know that in the comment section as well. Anyway, I'd love to know what you guys think. Have I convinced you that Adobe and Creative Cloud is not the devil, and that if you're hurting on the money side, you just have to figure it out more than anything? Have I convinced you that it's worth saving your time rather than trying to save money, and that when you try to save money, sometimes what you're really doing is you're devaluing your time and your actual worth? You know, I would love to know if I've brought you over or won you over in some way, or if you have a counter argument that I haven't thought of. Let's politely discuss that in the comment section. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and for those of you who didn't, well, that's just too bad. Anyway, like this video if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Check out the other awesome content on the channel. As always, you guys, thanks so very much for watching, and don't forget, create something awesome today.